sounds like we're going to be diving right into our second game straight away. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be game number 2. We're here on Dry Arabia, spawning in on the north side in the color red. It's going to be RecoN in the English. And on the south side in the blue, Szalami on the Malians. So Lidakor's just explained he thinks that the English have got it pretty good in this matchup. Well, I reckon it might be the opposite. I actually love the Malians in this matchup. I feel when I'm playing the Malians into the English, I've got so many options. And when it comes to playing against the Malians as the English, I feel like I'm so limited in what I can do. If I want to play Feudal Age, they beat me. If I want to try and get Castle Age, they beat me. What do I do? I really don't know the answer, because it's... I mean, I guess you just got to be a better player. It's easy because you can just blame the civilization, but at the same time, I mean, you think about it, right? Like, what does an English player want to do? Well, they can play Feudal, but their longbows get beaten by the javelins, and their men-at-arms get countered by the Musafati. So that's a bit of a problem. So you kind of got to go Castle Age, and then if you go Castle Age, well, you're just going to get beaten by a Farimba garrison. So you just got to play really good. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, that usually applies in competitive play for sure, but it's going to be interesting to see because, as we discussed, the English have received a lot of buffs. So, if ever, then this is probably now when the English can actually beat the Malians. But yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think Malians have a decent chance against the English here. I think the big question, first of all, is what RecoN is, or what landmark RecoN is going to open with. He's going to go for a council hall, so no crazy new Abbey and King shenanigans. Just play standard council hall. I don't know, honestly. Oh, look at that. Hold the phone. Szalami doesn't care. He wants to go for a trade. And I love it. If it was the alternative landmark, if it was the Abbey, and you would have that king with its ability to just catch traders as they move, I wouldn't like it. But with the council hall there and RecoN possibly having a slow army, this is actually a really good landmark choice here for Szalami. He could trade early on. It's not just the defense element of this landmark.
Yeah, this is something that has been very interesting that we've watched develop with Szalami and the way that he likes to use this landmark. So it essentially, it's just become like his default landmark that he goes to. And I'll watch games where he plays like 30 minutes in and he still hasn't gone traders and he's gone for this landmark. I'm like, why did you even make that landmark? And it's just there just in case he needs to fall back on trade. So I really think it's a smart move that he's gone for it. The problem that he's going to have, take a look where the trading posts are. They have spawned in the middle of the map, in the very center of the map on the axes towards the northwest, the southeast. This is hard to defend and very easy to attack. Is there a world where this trade actually works, or am I just crazy?
It's hard to say, as we have a stone mine coming in here for RecoN. Now, could just be for arrow slits for future towers, especially if you want to try to expand your network of castles. Or it could be a greedy 2TC play from RecoN, anticipating a more defensive approach from Szalami, especially seeing that Saharan trade network. Now, I think you will try at least 1 or 2 runs with your traders, especially when you have a couple of potentially warrior scouts out there for Szalami. Yeah, that's what he's going to do, actually. Now, come to just go into the head of Szalami. I actually play a lot of team games with him, so probably know his style quite a bit. Probably more than I do for other players. He loves the professional scouts with the Malian warrior scouts. Because you're going to have map presence. You're going to have a force that deals with the longbowmen. It's going to be something that protects your future wannabe traders. And you can also use that to ferry in the deer carcasses. So you get a lot of value out of that single upgrade.
All right, well, let's see what pressure he's applying. Because over on the gold vein, he's able to get that warrior scout in, do some damage to the villager. Not able to take anything out just yet, but at least force RecoN off that gold. He does scout out that the stone is being taken as well, so might be able to do a little bit of a dance over on that position. You can see how fast that warrior scout's moving. It's just moving as fast as a horseman. Down towards the south side of the map, though. Longbows making their way around.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little annoying. Nice little angle from RecoN. Don't forget that Saharan trade network also acts as a defensive outpost, and so many times we see that being placed close to the goal just as a defensive structure, but the angle is beautiful here from RecoN, making sure that he can deny this gold mine at least for the time being. But here comes the first sofa, and it will get rid of those longbows rather easily. Nice little shift of angle to avoid the palings, and that should be a cleanup for Szalami.
Yeah, beautiful little job. And look at him moving back over the top of the palings. does actually get caught into it. Very, very cheeky from RecoN doing that. But we see a horseman coming out for RecoN. What is this all about? English with a horseman 6 minutes into the game? Excuse me? What is this?
Curious choice. I'm not against it, especially because he saw the warrior scout upgrade. So he knows that there are going to be some scouts come in. He might feel like he's going to struggle tracking down all that cavalry that's just circling around his base, harassing him. And he wants to go for a second TC here, no doubt in that. So he might just add those horsemen as a response to warrior scouts.
You know, I do kind of like this in this matchup to go horsemen, because I really do feel like it is a matchup that you're not going to have many favorable outcomes in when you open with longbows, right? Like you go longbows, okay, well, they've got the sofa, they've got the javelin thrower. You go for the men at arms, obviously, they're just going to shut you down with Musafati. So maybe horsemen here do, like, it actually makes sense. Because at the very least, okay, they've got donzos, which are obviously very good against cavalry, but every civ's got access to spears. So it's nothing too crazy. So it just feels like a normal kind of matchup in that regard. So yeah, who knows? Maybe that's the direction that you've got to play it.
Also, don't forget that RecoN knows about the trade network, the Saharan trade network. So if Szalami isn't willing to commit to much cavalry, then the existence of those horsemen will make it much more difficult for Szalami to trade. Now, this is some decent value out here for the Sofas. Nice little sword swing to finish off one villager. And this is why he's making those horsemen. He needs something that keeps track of this cavalry, while also having some level of presence to deny potential trade.
Yeah, it's a smart move from him to do this. Yeah, I guess trade is obviously another factor to consider, but look at this. The lack of damage coming out right now, it means that the Sofa's going to be able to get off some really good hits on the villagers. He's trying his best to micro them around, but not going to be able to find luck as another villager goes down. So far, 3 villagers taken out early on in this game, and it's probably going to be a 4th one, the way this Sofa is charging in. So RecoN definitely scrambling right now.
He is.
Tell you what, I can't help but
perfect.
feel like he's made a mistake with this town center placement. Had he put this on the gold, would have been up a long time ago with no villagers dead. But now, the town center, I mean, he's been stalled out this entire time. His farm transition's barely begun. Are we able to have a look at the farm transition before we check out the Farimba garrison right here? I just want to see exactly where he's up to.
Yeah, it's very little.
Yeah, only 5 farms.
You have a good point there. So when you expand with a second town center, oftentimes, with most civilizations at least, you're trying to place it on food because that's going to run out the fastest within your base. But with the English, you can be a little bit more flexible with that placement because you can afford to play condensed. You can just rely on the farms as your food source. So indeed, for RecoN, he could have opted to place that TC on the gold mine, just say, okay, I want this to be completed in time so I can start pumping out villagers and I won't have those threatened by the Sofas, and then just play off farms. He decided to go for the deer, but that slows down that TC. So not only is he gonna get beaten to costage really badly, he's also down 2 villagers.
Yeah, he's well, and it's not just the villagers that he's down. He's also down a couple more. I think, yeah, he lost a total of 4 during that engagement. But let's take a look and see where Szalami goes from here as he begins to upgrade. Is that his Donzos that he's upgrading? I think he's picking up veteran Donzos at the moment. He's also looking to... Oh, I just noticed the Farimba garrison. Look how cute and small it is now. It used to be so big, but now it's just like a normal landmark, like everybody else.
Exactly. That's actually one of the bigger things. Malian landmarks actually got changed in size. They used to be 5x5 tiles. Now they're 4x4. They were the only landmarks in game, I do believe, which were actually 5x5. Now they're 4x4, so they're just normal size landmarks.
Interestingly, their wonder was also 5x5 instead of 6x6, which is what everyone else's wonders are. It was strange. Let's just say that much. But looks like a couple of vills going to get picked off. Scout just getting stabbed in the face with some javelins. Beautiful micro coming in from RecoN once again. His micro's been outstanding this series. It's been incredible, like a scarecrow. But
Szalami's
walls
had
coming
enough.
through for Szalami. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, okay, you're not leaving my base here, or at least you won't leave that intact. Oh, here comes the trap. Beautiful one from Szalami.
Yeah, I think he's got it here, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he should be able. Yeah, he should be fine. Oh, never mind. Actually, is that a hole?
I think it is. It should be. Maybe not.
No, it just
wacky
looks
from the
like
game.
it is. Yeah, it looks like there's 3 holes, but I think he's just cancelled the palisades or the connectors a little bit late.
Yeah.
So, often when I'm doing like my coaching on Patreon, this is a matchup that comes up quite a bit. And from this position, I feel like this matchup is impossible to win. I don't think RecoN can win from here. He's so far behind when it comes to his economy. His castle age is very far away, unless he sends like 10 vills to gold right now, which I don't think is the case. I don't know where he goes from here, because all Szalami needs to do is just keep cranking out units.
Yes.
Eventually push, and he's just going to kill his enemy. Now, that's on the condition that Szalami just continues making units. You know, unless if he goes for traders or something like that, I can't be held responsible for what the outcome of the game might be. But if he just makes units from here, I think he just wins the game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, RecoN's got a tough position here. He's up by 10 eco for sure, but Szalami's got that passive gold income coming from the pit mines. He's going to start picking up relics, so that's kind of offsetting those things. And I think the concerning thing for RecoN is that he could be denied all wood, possibly even gold as well. He's going to wall himself off, but if Szalami plays aggressive here, he could just deny the wood from RecoN, and then it's going to be very difficult to do anything, even if he gets to Castle Age. Now, the good news for RecoN is that with the settings or with the rules we're playing in the first round of Golden League, Szalami can't go for a forward keep because keeps aren't available. If keeps were available, this game would be over in 2 minutes' time. Now there is at least a shot for RecoN to slow this game down and maybe really capitalize on that villager lead.
Yeah, well, let's see how he does it. He's going to be looking to try and play it in feudal here. A distinct lack of javelin throwers coming out at this stage, despite a heavy presence of longbowmen from his opponent. Veterancy coming through on the archers as well. So Szalami just looking to stick it with Archer and Donzo. A bit of an interesting decision there. How do you feel about that composition?
It's fine-ish, although it's not like there is many horsemen left here from RecoN. Longbows, obviously, the network of castles, they will do a decent job over here. So I feel like this is fine for the time being for RecoN, but if the numbers of Szalami start increasing rapidly with the Framework garrison, this composition will be okay, not necessarily because of the composition itself, but simply due to the sheer numbers that Szalami is putting on the field.
Yeah, I find it interesting that he's not going for javelin throwers at all. Typically, by this point, you'd expect to see a lot of javelins, but now Longbow's going to be able to move out, and Szalami going to be losing a couple of units here for free. Longbow's going to be looking to try and chase them down, and we start to see the first of the relics getting picked up in the center of the map. Szalami already with one in the pocket, second one about to get taken now. And Sacred Sight's out here as well. A little bit of a misplay here, showing the Shamans on the Sacred Sights.
Yeah. Not a single Donzo to accompany them, that's the bigger thing. Like, that could easily be a Shaman picked off, would be great value for RecoN. Now, Szalami's eco did take a beating as those horsemen harassed him, like his food eco still isn't crazy good, and that's slowing his progress down quite a bit, allowing RecoN to slowly build up an eco lead to a respectable 20 now.
I'm still curious why we don't actually see any javelin throwers coming out from Szalami. I'd love to pick his brain about this and find out more as to why he thinks this is, or what's so good about this, because I can't help but feel like had he just made 15 javelin throwers and walked down the middle, started making rams, it'd be very difficult for RecoN to hold that, but he's quite comfortable just playing Feudal Age into this.
Yeah, for the time being, RecoN is more than fine holding this, and the longer this game goes, the better the chances of RecoN are, so yeah, Szalami, as crazy as it sounds like, he's on a bit of a timer here. Despite the fact that, on paper, this should be an advantage for him, because if you look at the resource bank or the resource income for RecoN, he could be in Castle Age in about a minute and a half. And once he gets there, it's a 20 eco lead, he could have a third town center with the King's Palace, or he could opt to go for the White Tower and have a very strong defensive landmark, making it very possible for Szalami to aggress him.
Yeah, that's a really good point. But yeah, RecoN definitely looking to gear towards that Castle Age. Ololo coming in on the south side. Looks like it's not going to be successful. Horseman able to take it out before any real damage gets done. Now that farm transition coming through. He's picked up quite a few farms here. Sofa moving around the north side. We also see imported armor going to be coming through for Sofa. So Szalami looking to stick with a bit of an interesting style, going with archers together with Sofa. So looking to avoid javelin altogether.
Yeah, exactly. It's It's a very old school composition, that Spearman plus Archer combo, but it kind of works right now because RecoN is doing the same thing, but he does so with Feudal Age units only. Looks like this army could also be pursued down. Don't forget, folks, longbows are actually slower than ordinary archers, so this retreat is difficult for RecoN to pull off, especially when Szalami is coming in with a beautiful wraparound.
Yeah, this is pretty nice from Szalami. Looking to try and take out that scout on the front line, does so successfully. Now working down each of those individual spearmen on the front. Able to take out a lot of units here, and RecoN going to be losing a fair bit. But it looks like the Castle Age is going to be coming through. Question is, what direction does he go? Does he move into White Tower and guarantee the integrity of his base, or does he go for King's Palace, something a little bit more greedy? Age up about to come through any second.
Yeah, let's see if Szalami has vision on those lumberjacks. I
White
don't
Tower.
think he does. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, White Tower. Makes a lot of sense to be moving into this. I think a quick Mangonel here could just be the nail in the coffin. But yeah, I think for me, the biggest question is, why did we not see Javelin Throwers? I can't help but feel in this matchup, Javelin Throwers are just so dominant. A unit that does well against every single one of the units that RecoN can make in the Feudal Age. As long as they've got a couple Donzos to hold their hands, they should be fine. So yeah, very interesting to see just a mass of archers coming through. But Szalami could potentially stop this age up from coming through. If he spots it out, he could move the archers. And there we go. He spots it. He's going to have to cancel the White Tower. This is not getting up right now. There's no possible way this gets up. You can see him picking off the villagers here. Surely he's able. Is he able to reach from there? Oh, he's so close. Look at it.
He might be able to burn his way through in time.
But look at the longbows. They're just teeing off on all of these units. He's trying to break through. There's no Donzos left. There's just a handful of them. He's able to get through, but at the same time, he's been able to get through the majority of these units, and now the village is going to have to fall back. He's able to hold it. Lidakor, is RecoN in trouble right now?
Oh, it's tough to say. Szalami's going to have to dive deep in here, but if Szalami doesn't prevent this landmark from going up, it's a disaster for him, and his numbers are slowly disappearing. RecoN still has 28 longbows over here with a network of castles. Sure thing, these are just Feudal Age units, but I don't know how long can Szalami deny this. Eventually, I think RecoN is going to grind down these numbers. It's hard to say.
Sofa's coming through. He's got the poison now for those arrows. Spearmen moving to the front. Not a lot of spearmen, though. Only a handful. And they move immediately towards all of these archers, managing to try and take them out. Not going to have any luck. White Tower still under construction. 10 villagers on it at the moment. Yeah, he snuck the villagers around the back. He should be able to get the Castle Age. The longbow mass is continuing to hold for the moment. And it looks like RecoN doing a decent job of holding, and the age up comes through. Villagers getting taken out left, right, and center. 16 down so far this game. Continuing to pop and stop and keep on hitting, but it looks like with the White Castle or White Tower at the front, the push is going to be stalled out. He's got the 2 TCs, 20 villager advantage, and he's heading towards the late game as the English. I can't help but feel like RecoN's position has increased incredibly since that Castle Age timing from Szalami.
Yeah, Szalami felt like he had map control, but he did little with it. It's not like there is trade going on. He picked up 2 relics and 2 sacred sites with the almost 8 minutes of Castle Age advantage that he has had, and he allowed RecoN back into this game. Now, part of that was obviously that the RecoN walled himself off, but as you said, it was surprising not to see a single javelin thrower, not to see a single battering ram, or maybe even a forward siege workshop for mangonels or anything along those lines from Szalami. And at the end of the day, he just had to desperately try and stop that Castle Age, because the only thing that he had as an advantage was his Castle Age over RecoN.
Yeah, to me, it seems very, very curious that we didn't see any javelin throws. I'm not sure exactly what Szalami was going for. It kind of felt like he was playing like a, you know, the matchup, basically saying, like, I'm honorable, I'm not going to make javelin throwers or something like that. It would have been such an amazing unit for him, but yeah, unfortunately didn't find a lot of success without them. So who knows, maybe he heads back to the drawing board for his next Malian game. I'd love to learn more about it, though. What was his thinking behind avoiding them?
Yeah, now he's switching into sofas, though. Don't forget, like, he still has some relics. He's got the 3rd sacred site coming in, so the passive gold income is going to offset some of RecoN's eco advantage. In fact, if you look at the resource income, it's actually better overall for Szalami. This game is far from over. And RecoN is about, or he will be forced to make a tech switch. He's going to have to go for knights, and that's exactly what he's going for. Szalami doesn't really have a direct response to those, but don't forget, the archers do have poison arrows.
Yeah, that's a good call. They do move quickly as well. Now, one thing to note, Szalami did take the trade landmark, the Saharan trade network in the Feudal Age. So we're at the 20-minute mark. No traders just yet. But in the blink of an eye, blink and you miss it, You'll be sitting on 65 traders. You'd be wondering where they came from.
Yep.
Expect to see them come soon.
They have to. Like, you know that RecoN's army is mostly longbows. You know that he kind of needs to regroup and reassemble after that fight. He needs to get his castle age upgrades. If you're Szalami, you need to get those traders going as soon as possible because clock is ticking. You may not have all this map control for a long time.
We see a couple of archers moving forward. I think it's a sacrifice to the English gods. Unfortunately, losing their lives. It continues to move forward. I'm loving the onion defense coming through from RecoN. Slowly moving out with these walls. Walling things in more steadily and slowly. But what's he doing with his units? Once again, Szalami making a questionable decision with his positioning of units as he brings everything up towards this north side. Longbow's going to be here. Poison arrows. Not going to have much to say once these longbows get behind the walls. If they go behind the walls, hold on a minute. Longbows, you guys have missed out on a gate opportunity, my friends. But, yeah, how do you feel about this positioning right now?
For Szalami, terrible. His hunters are now being aggressed. Numbers are relatively even, but you just don't see that on the field. Szalami's army is mostly archers, and his opponent has 15 horsemen already on the field. This army could get cleaned up very easily, especially if the longbows fall back behind the walls. And once that's done, it's not like Szalami has much of a force to put pressure onto RecoN with.
Yeah, the Sofa are doing a decent job, though. It's interesting just how well these guys stack up. If we take a look at the armor that they've got imported armor, which means that they tank a lot of damage from longbows. But the spearmen have arrived now. They should be able to more than capably clean this up. So yeah, up to 7 ranged armor. And remember that a longbow does, I think, a total of 10 damage with max upgrades in the castle edge.
Yeah, exactly. Still, it's the numbers game right now for RecoN. He's going to clean this force up. Szalami's up to 10 sofas. The concern for him is that his eco is not growing as rapidly as RecoN's one is. If he was on a second town center, I would say, okay, there is a reasonable shot at this game going long. But right now, that 30 villagers advantage that RecoN has, especially with his growing map control, makes things very concerning for Szalami.
Yeah, definitely true. All right, well, the Sacred Victory keeps ticking, but take a look at the size of the military right now from RecoN. I'm having flashbacks to that first game where the surround came through. His control is just absolutely impressive. He's really worked on it. I tell you what, his control is looking much better than I've ever seen it before. And now we've got a little bit of a last-ditch effort here trying to wall these sacred sites, keep them alive for a little bit longer. But seems unlikely that it's going to matter in the scheme of things.
The big fight coming up over here. Szalami trying to flank. Some spearmen available for RecoN to deal with the sofas, but this could be a beautiful flank. More spearmen joining the party, though. Aussie, do you think he can take this?
It doesn't really look like it. The horseman numbers are pretty solid here. Longbows are decently battering it out on the back, and at the same time, spearmen getting cleaned up towards the north side, but I can't help but feel like even if he does manage to somehow clean this up, it's not going to matter because he doesn't have the economy to push over his enemy. There's the white tower that's present as well. We can see Szalami just getting cleaned up here. Horseman just doing a really decent job, and the reinforcement's going to be coming in. Sacred Victory is ticking, but the English defense looks pretty strong right now.
Yeah, it does. Szalami just trying to grind down those numbers, hoping that he can somehow hold those sacred sites. Remember, folks, you can't go for keeps to defend them with, so it has to be just a raw and pure army. It's an even Steven when it comes to the trades, but that is insufficient for Szalami, and the flood from RecoN continues. Szalami is also trying to regroup, and don't forget that he's got the poison arrows on those archers. He's got the sofas also soaking up a lot of damage, so on paper, his army on even numbers or even terms should be more effective than RecoN's one. Still, though, unless he plays for a Sacred Site victory specifically, you don't see him winning this game.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. It's just going to be so hard without keeps that you can put down on your sacred sites or stone walls that you can wall off sections of the map. It's just, it changes the whole dynamic, and the possibility of a Sacred Victory just kind of goes out the window, I think, unless you've already got the game in the bag. Makes it very difficult. But at the moment, the economies, if we compare RecoN over to Szalami sitting on about, 3,300 resources a minute. Compare that to RecoN, who's sitting on close to 4.3k.
Indeed, and it's increasing. RecoN is just now starting to unlock the real power of the English, that late game. And we're not talking about necessarily the enclosures in Imperial, which was nerfed. It's just the raw brute force power of that very effective farming that's at display, really.
Yeah. That's exactly it. Well, we're at the 25-minute mark. No traders, no javelins. You wouldn't think you were watching a Malian game, but apparently it is indeed the Malian game. Yeah, for the most part, Szalami just trying to do his best to find a way in, but the onion defense from RecoN is looking solid. Doesn't seem to be any real way to break through it. It's a very solid, tight defense that he's got back there.
Yeah, Szalami just tries to apply pressure, keep going, but his numbers, they are not good enough for this, especially considering that there is network of citadels for RecoN as well. So his defensive position is extremely powerful, very difficult to break, and he's walled off back at home. It's just such a valuable thing for him to do. Szalami can't use the mobility of those sofas to hit the eco. He has to take direct fights that he cannot win.
Yeah, that's just it. I mean, the numbers here not looking terrible. All sacred sites are now once again taken. So it looks like RecoN may lose this battle just here because the sofa numbers start to build up. And you've got to be careful of sofas, right? Like,
yes.
A lot of people look at sofas and think, you know, it's kind of like a horseman. Well, yeah, it's kind of like a horseman, except it's got more health. It's got way more damage. You can see it doesn't even matter in the scheme of things just because those longbows, they're just battering out non-stop damage, just penetrating through that armor.
Yeah, some men-at-arms are now joining the party as well. Now, Szalami is looping around with some of the sofas. I think he's heading for the walls. He just wants to hit the eco, realizing that RecoN's army is, at least on paper, slow. But there are enough horsemen for RecoN to match that. And that's the problem. I think those sofas could have cleaned up the middle right now with no spearmen available. Instead, Szalami opts to go for the eco, and he might have his army cleaned up here in the middle, as well as right next to the walls.
Yeah, look how little damage he was doing to that man-at-arms, but he has broken through. Okay, if there's a will, there's a way. And Szalami, well, his name's not William, but I tell you what, it damn well could be, because this guy always tries to find a way. Look at those reinforcements. Look how quickly they flood into all of those defensive areas. Wants to try and protect these farms. Not evacuating the villages, at least just not yet.
Yeah, RecoN can afford to lose a couple of villagers over here. He's got such a gigantic lead, although obviously he needs to respect the fact that Szalami is up on 4 relics and 3 sacred sites, so passive gold income is monstrous for Szalami. But still, losing a couple of villagers won't have a massive impact on RecoN right now.
Yeah, definitely agreed. We've got ourselves a little bit of a proxy base coming down in the center as well. RecoN slowly moving forward. Could be looking at an Imperial soon. His transition to farms has been solid. He's sitting on 2,600 food a minute, so if he goes idle for even just 50 seconds, he'll have enough food to get up.
Indeed, and that might actually be the plan. With some fortifications available in the middle, you can still make outposts and fortify them, and that's one of the things that RecoN is doing. He's going to have network of citadels all the way to the middle of the field now, so the numbers advantage, and he's pop-capped. So this is the right time for him to start banking up resources for Imperial, and when he gets there, he might actually opt to go for the Berkshire Palace instead of the Wingard one. You can't go for keeps, but how about placing the strongest, possibly the strongest keep-style landmark in the game right now? That bad boy has 15 range on all of its weapons now.
Yeah, that's a good point. I was just thinking about that. I'm like, you know what? Actually, it wouldn't be too bad here, would it? Like a Wingard down on a sacred site, but I don't know. I feel like RecoN's probably got enough of a lead that he doesn't even need to really think about that. What's also interesting to note is that RecoN is max 200 pop, Szalami's 60 pop behind, yet they both have the same military population. So Szalami's got room to grow. And remember that if RecoN does stall out, doesn't push and doesn't get upgrades, which is unlikely but possible, Szalami's mass is just going to keep building up.
That's very true. On the other hand, RecoN is going to have the Imperial Age advantage, and there comes the Berkshire Palace right in the middle. It's actually a very aggressive placement if you look at the minimap. I love it. I think the Wingard with the buff it received is an amazing landmark, but in the settings where you can't have keeps, having the Berkshire in the middle, 15 range, insane presence in the middle, expanding your network of citadels aura is immensely valuable, and it's gonna be a pain for Szalami to deal with.
Yeah, I got to agree. It's definitely going to be very difficult for him to deal with it. The only way you can deal with this landmark is through trebuchets. That's it.
Yes.
Bombards will die. Battering rams will die. Units will die. Everything will die. But it looks like we've got ourselves a bit of a fight, but the Berkshire does get up. Villagers jump inside. 11 villagers garrisoned. He's looking to immediately begin attacking, and you can see those incendiary arrows going to be firing down upon the units below it. The Donzo numbers are incredible. He's up to 39 Donzos. He's going to be looking to try and chase away RecoN's English army. His attack at the perfect time. A lot of those archers going to be looking to fire down over on the Berkshire Palace. Probably the wrong units need to begin moving forward. Get in the action, archers. What are you guys doing? At the same time, counterattack towards the north. Szalami just looking to split his enemy open on all sides of the map. But at the same time, that Berkshire Palace is up.
It's up.
And it should be able to defend this point.
Exactly, and you see Szalami has to pull a villager. Are those villagers or are those spearmen? I think those are villagers.
Those are
you have
villagers.
to pull them before Boiling Oil finishes. It's halfway done, but there might not be enough here for RecoN to stop this. If Boiling Oil finishes, this could be game.
Yeah, you're 100% on the money. Boiling Oil's got, how long does it have? 38 seconds? Now, I think it does 35 damage. I'm not 100% sure. And it's going to take 9 seconds to cycle through.
It's too late for Szalami, though. He's getting cleaned up here.
Yep, the Berkshire. And he can always just pop the villagers out and just start repairing anyway. Szalami's going to have to walk away from this. He's down on 63 villagers. It's not looking likely. The Imperial gets up. He's secured. And RecoN walks happily into the Imperial Age, picks up his unique upgrade enclosures, and says, goodbye, gold mines. I don't need you anymore. Farms are my new best friend.
This is looking impossible now for Szalami. RecoN is pop capped. Szalami down below 100 population. No chance to get to Imperial. And now it's just full-on momentum from the English. Men-at-arms in the mix. Longbows as well. And Szalami has nothing to account for this. He's gonna try to switch to Musafari Warriors, but it's just coming too little too late. It's the tax disadvantage that will swing this in the favor, or tax advantage for RecoN, tax disadvantage for Szalami, that will make it or break it.
Yeah, this is such a tough position from Szalami to come back from. Half the military pop, half the economic pop, but he knows if he loses this game, that's it. He's down to the bottom, or to the bottom of the brackets. This is obviously double elimination, so he won't be out of the tournament. But when it's best of ones, anything can happen. So you've got to be very careful about when you drop down. He's made it pretty far so far, but obviously you'd love to try and stay in there, get it in for another round. But I tell you what, when there's an army that big inside your base, it's not too many chances of it happening.
Yeah, next to impossible here for Szalami, trying to hold on for his life. He can't even just march into the base of the opponent with the archers, hoping for villager picks, because RecoN is walled back at home, and now he's just diving under the town center. Szalami likely busy typing GG here, because there is not much left for him to hold his base with. He's gonna get flooded by the men-at-arms. 8,000 score versus 4,000, and this is one of those cases where the score doesn't lie. There's a huge lead here for RecoN, with little chances for Szalami to turn this around.
Yeah, definitely going to agree with that. It's always tough when your base is getting camped like this, but it's just the reality of tournament games. You got to try and find a way back in. Is he going for like some sort of? See, the thing is, you can't even go for a landmark snipe, right? What are you going to do about the Wingard that's got boiling oil and 15 range and villagers ready to repair? Like, it's just not possible.
Exactly. Like, landmark snipe is not an option. Now, naturally, Szalami doesn't see what we see when it comes to the population, but even then, he should know that, okay, I'm down 1 age and I'm 83 population. That's like, it's more about the fact that he doesn't want to give up. Like, he doesn't want to call an early GG, quote unquote. And in his perspective, even if he's behind, he wants to make sure he's like completely defeated before calling it.
Yeah, I think for me, it just goes back to the fact that he didn't have javelins. Like, 15 javelins would have done so much this game. And, you know, it's something that I was talking about, that if you're able to get Castle Age before an English player is, you can punish them insanely. There's really not a lot that they can do. I know that there's people who feel different ways about this matchup, whether it's English favored or whether it's Malian favored, but I think when you've got a nice lead, the same way that Szalami had, it's very easy to convert that into a victory. But yeah, we didn't see Szalami lend or lean in towards that position. Instead decided to opt for archers, and it means now that, I mean, the game's pretty much up at this point.
It is. It definitely is. And I agree with you. I think he couldn't really capitalize on that Castle Age advantage that he had. And that was showcased by the fact that he had to dive so aggressively to try and prevent the White Tower from being completed. He had to commit his entire army. He lost his numbers there trying to stop the White Tower because he knew fully well that his eco is much weaker. He needs to capitalize on that Castle Age, and that was his last opportunity to do so. After that, it was all RecoN with the eco lead that he had.
Yeah, well played by RecoN, honestly. I'm impressed at how well he recovered there. A good solid game, once again, coming out from both of these players. And Szalami will drop down now to the lower bracket. Of course, RecoN continues on to the next round. And I think the question on everybody's mind is, who's he going to be going up against next? Because I tell you what, RecoN, obviously a very, very good player. But he'll be going up against either Lucifron or Divine. It depends on who wins out of those two.